welcome to a new Harry's Garage video and a very special Porsche in the garage today. This is the 911 ST, so the 992 version, the latest version of 911, and this is basically Porsche's birthday present to itself for 60 years of 911. 911 first appeared in 1963. And to celebrate that fact, they are building 1,963 examples of this ST. So what is it? It's a mix of the tastiest bits within the sort of GT program. So it's GT3 based, but it's got the RS engine in it, so 525 horsepower. It's manual, it's light, all those sort of things. I had that RS, you might remember if you looked at the video I did on the 964 RS, I actually had a GT3 RS in the garage at that point. And this shares some of the componentry there in a much more subtle look than the highly aggressive uber aero looking GT3 RS, and I think it's just a closer match to the 964 RS, and especially to drive. So that's why I got it in. Let's go and have a closer look. So looking at the front, it's very like the GT3 with touring pack to look at, but it is different. It has different wings. You'll see that in a moment. This colour is Shaw Blue Metallic. Doesn't look metallic, but under these lights I can just see a fleck under there. And I like it more than that GT3, well, the GT3 look, which is sort of giant bit of black plastic here, which I really don't like on the touring and on this ST. It's body coloured, as you can see there, and just the little nostrils there. So you've got a conventional boot, which we'll have a look at in a moment. Another thing, even though this is the light model, this has a proper crest, early crest with those traditional colours that you saw on the first 911 to celebrate the 60 years. If you come around the sides, well, there's a unique wheel on the ST. This is magnesium wheel, and I just love this design detail. It actually has holes within the spokes there for lightness. Obviously CCM brakes, carbon brakes, and these carbon wings. So you've got a carbon bonnet and carbon wings, and just like on the GT3 RS, it's sort of cut away here, but it's more subtly done than on the GT3 RS. It shares the doors with the GT3 RS, so this is a carbon door as well. Porsche scripts, some have roundels on. This looks better without them, I think. And then come round the back, and you'll see that there's no spoiler, it's all very calmed down. The only hint of aero at the back when it's static is this little gurney flap on the edge here. When in motion, this wing does pop up, but most of the time, this is how it looks. It has the Heritage Design Package, 60 years of 911, so it gets this special badge, as you can see here. And then it has the gold lettering. Well, early 911, I think, had gold lettering as well, so you see the Porsche on the back in gold. And then the Venturi and the twin pipes coming out the back. The interior is just lovely on this. This is the Heritage pack. We'll look at it better when we go outside. But yeah, it's leather, two-tone leather black and cognac, classic cognac they term it. Very nicely done. One thing I'm not so sure about are the puddle lights. If you look at that, icons of cool. No, you should never describe yourself as cool. It's rule number one. I think I'd have to change that if I owned this car. And then, what I really like about this ST, you get a proper boot, not like the GT3 RS, which is just a sort of radiator here, no space. But this is built to be used, and as you see the carbon bonnet, you can just see underneath there. That's the Porsche ST. I should say also it's a very expensive model because of the limited run production of 1,963 units. It is £231,600. I had that GT3 with touring pack in just over 18 months ago. That was 131,530, so almost £100,000 more than a regular GT3 touring. Is it worth it? Well, let's take it outside, take it for a drive. As ever with these seats, they're fixed rake bucket seats, and you just have to hop in to miss the side bolsters, which are pretty sharp, but once you're in, they're very good seats, as we all know. And they're set low. I can't get it. I've got a little rocket here. I can put them lower. And now I just feel like a little school kid or something in a sort of car at the motor show, something peering over the dash. I can't have it right at the bottom position, even though I'm sort of over 6 foot tall. Nicely trimmed in here. Whatever you think of brown leather, it's very subtly done, and nice stitching, and just detail on it is just really nice. These knurled bits on here, and also the wheel, sort of small, with no of the driver modes that you would expect to see on a GT3 S type car, and also with the traditional colours on the crest on the steering wheel as well. And in front of me, the rev counter has the green look that we first saw on, I think 356 had it, an early 911. Really nice detail as well. It's numbered plaque over there. This is number 128 of 1963. They're going to build chrono pack as you expect. Yeah, this car, I mean, obviously no rear seats because of the lightness. This car is all about lightness, and it has a roll cage, but it's a carbon fibre roll cage. I think the extra is 3,707 pounds. I wouldn't tick the box because it just destroys the practicality of having that space behind you. I'm told you can't get a full face helmet through it either if you're going on a track day. Although this car is all about road, there is potentially, it might go on track one day and you want to carry a helmet and there's two of you in the car. But at least I suppose you can put it in the front, unlike on the GT3 RS. Shorter gear lever as well, 1 centimetre shorter, just helps the throw of that as well, I'm told. What other extras have we got? It's got front lift on this car, 2,546, LED lights, 435, park assist, 1,007 pounds. That's a bit off, isn't it? That's the cameras. You'd think at 231,000 you would get that included, and Bose surround system, so it's got the uprated sound system. But when I started up, it makes you wonder why you have that, really. There we go. Yeah, typical sort of, you can hear it sort of rattle. That is a GT3 sound, and it's even more extreme in this because it has a trick flywheel, well, a light flywheel and clutch assembly. They say they've saved 10.5 kilos over a regular GT3 manual with this car, so it does give it an extra character. Right, let's get going. Yeah, even as I dip the clutch, it's that different sound as well. It's shorter geared. We'll come on to the gear in a moment, but yeah, I'm into third and I'm only doing 24 miles an hour. Let's head out, go find some better roads. Yeah, you do sense this motorsport type engine, and it won't rev actually. It won't rev past 4,000 just on a static rev like that. But there's just this liveliness, this noise that you associate with competition cars. Yeah, it punches. 525 horsepower, and the torque there, and the lightweight, and the short gearing all come together to make this car feel alive when you start off like you just experienced there. Plenty of sound in here. I did measure it. It's just over 80 decibels, this car, so typical 911 GT3. Not as noisy though as the 964 RS up this bit of road. There's several dash layouts you can have. I like this one. It's termed track. It just gives you a rev indicator, then the change-up lights, and it's really useful when you've got an engine that revs to 9,000 RPM and it's all going on as it accelerates away, as you'll see in a moment. I'm also actually going to select sport. I like sport. The one thing is the ride on it, yes, it's sporting, but it isn't quite as tough as you might imagine. And both sport and normal are very usable, but it just relaxes the traction. It seems to have better traction in sport. Right, I'm going to select second here, and I'm just going to go against my normal sprint. Here we go. It's quite something how it builds power and just fires you up the road. I was looking at the numbers of this on this engine, and it's just a smidgen less torque than a regular GT3. Same thing with the GT3 RS as well. It's got extra horsepower, and it actually runs a different cam, so they're very much concentrated on that wow factor as you get towards the 9,000 RPM, and it's also peak power at 8,500 RPM rather than 9,000 you might expect. And it's quick. Obviously it's quick with the shorter gearing. They quote 3.7 seconds to 62. I bet you can do it quicker than that, but it just feels alive, and you wake that engine up and you revel in that sort of delivery. Just defines the car. Also, weight. They claim with all the lightness, all the carbon fibre front boot, wings, roof, or aluminium bodywork, deletion of rear steer, all sorts of things, and the lighter flywheel, 1,380 kilos. I weighed it and it actually went 20 kilos, but then it's got some heavier options on it. If it's got nose lift, that'll add weight. It's got the extra speakers, I suppose, from the enhanced stereo and the cage in the back. So yeah, I presume that's why it weighs a little bit more than Porsche say it should weigh. Right, let's try it down here. Oh, did you hear the way that revs? Is unbelievable. Whew. Yeah, lively steering, as you'll get to see. Now, I use this bit of road because it's a rubbish bit of road. All sorts of tarmac changes, bumpy. This deals with it very well. Yes, I can feel that it's lively, but if you knew how bad this road was, it's impressive. And I've just noticed I'm in sport. I can relax it a bit more and go in normal. Very usable, nothing like a regular GT3, nothing like that GT3 RS. I had a brief go down here. My goodness, that was tough down here. That is very much track focused. Down here, does it deflect? There is a slight deflection left. It just followed canvas a little bit. It's sharp on the steering. My God, it's sharp when you move the wheel. There's no lag, no nothing. And you've got to watch your weighting as you just take your hand off to change gear, just a slight deflection. You've got to be super natural with steering, very light the way you hold the wheel. If you grip the wheel hard, you'll be all over the road. You just got to relax when driving this car. Oh, listen to that flare of revs. It's going to be good round here. I know it's going to be good round here. Oh. There's a nasty off-camera bit round there. Dismisses it. But it's alive. It's not doing everything for me. I feel very much part of the action from where I'm sitting. Right. Time for some likes and dislikes on this car. I start with the dislikes. Price. Oh, it's a chunk of money. You remember when the Porsche 911s went over 100,000 and now they're over 200,000, 232. Don't look at them in the classifieds, just ridiculous. They're 400,000 something. It's a real shame that it's so much money, but they have done a lot of focus. It does elevate above regular GT3s. We're huge wait list for it, so Porsche know their business model better than I do. 2, it's just a bit heavier than it should be, but that's with 992. Porsche have tried everything to get weight out of this car. They've really tried, but somehow you expect it in to be low 1300s rather than low 1400s, and in this spec. Then you've got to have your wits about it. It doesn't relax with the steering. You sort of learn, the more I've driven it, more days I've been in it, I am getting more used to it. But when you initially get into it, it feels hyper all the time. But you can drive into it once you get to know its character, that it is super sharp with the steering, it is super sharp with the throttle. Trying to heel and toe with it is a challenge just because it's revved so quickly, but that's almost a positive. Another thing, it's still quite long geared. I know they boast about 8% lower gearing, but you're still well deep into 70 something miles an hour in second, 110, 115 miles an hour in third, and you can't really use 6 until you're doing at least 70 because it grumbles below 3,000 RPM. So yeah, it could be lower. It's funny enough, because it revs so high, if you're normally using it, you are changing gear a lot because you've so much revs to use, as you can hear it there. It's just spectacular. But round here, let's try it round here. Oh, listen to it, and powers out. Whoa! Something else out there. Yeah, well, I think I've moved on to the lights. Just the dynamic character with it just engages with you, and it's addictive, and you want to feel it, and the gear change is just a delight, and you want to learn how to do that and heel and toe with it. That's what you've got bought this car for, and wow, does it deliver at that. To the engine. The engine defines the GT3. It's so unlike other powered units that rival it, and still being normally aspirated, still having that manual connection with it in your extra special car. Fantastic. Visibility, usability, practicality, they're in spades with this car. So, is it the ultimate 911? That's the bit. It is the ultimate modern 911. I'd put it like that. I've been very lucky to taste a lot of flavours of cars with this engine in it, from RS Spider to GT3s to Tourings to GT3 RS and now the ST. For road use, it's my pick of the bunch, but it's £100,000 better than any of the others. That's where I struggle. It is better, without a shadow of doubt. It's the one I'd pick from them all, so money no object, it's the one I have. But that Spider RS was extra special. Yes, it's a little bit down and you can only get it in paddle shift, but that really made you connect to this glorious engine. GT3 RS I would have if I was doing track work, but for road work, this is the one. It's just wonderful. It's got all the ingredients you want from a driver's 911. I've hugely enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed this video as well. If you have, well, please keep subscribing. There'll be more videos coming along very soon.